Salutations! Welcome to MegoxCast. I am your host, John, joined by,
Ethan.
yes, for this episode. Today, we will talk about our filmmaking approaches. Now, Ethan, talk a little bit about yourself.
Well, I go to COC like John, and I don't know. We just been in the same classes for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not bothered by me by this point.
No, I actually secretly hate you, man.
Then why'd you go on the podcast?
It's just all long play. I'm a double agent.
Oh, okay. All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into
How,
it.
how we got into filmmaking. How about you start, Ethan?
Okay, well, I got into filmmaking actually pretty late. I think like my junior year of high school. It was a video production class, and I remember it was a group project. I remember like when it was. It was like January of 2020, before obviously COVID. And yeah, it was a group project to make a music video, but then due to unforeseen circumstances, well, basically my group made ditching the class. I had to do it on my own, and then I guess I had a plan originally with my group members, but they abandoned me. So I was just like, I'll just do what I want. So I made a music video. So I planned everything out by myself. I recruited like my friends. It was like a sad like thing. I'm trying to remember what exactly it was. It was a sad song about like a breakup. So I got one of my friends and a girl from my AP A push class to be the girl in it, and I just like directed them. I wrote the script for the music video, I guess, but I didn't really write anything. I directed them. I edited the thing, and after that, after the whole process, I was like, damn. I was like, I really like doing this, and that was really it.
No, that's good.
Yeah. What about you, John?
Hmm. I mean, similar actually. I used to be in. I used to do Lego stop motion when I was younger. I uh, I did it from an iPad, and I really like doing it. I upload it on YouTube all the time. Not all the time. It was like every 3 months. And at one point, I was kind of in a rut. I wasn't making anything really. Not the best time of my life, to be honest with you. There was some like Discord drama, which I can't even imagine nowadays. Just because of what I went through, I'm like, dang, that's like really pathetic. Like that, I would like take it that seriously, but I was like 15. So anyway, I'm gonna talk more about the filmmaking part. So around 2020, yeah, I had to do actually I didn't have to, but there was a short film festival for this guy named Monkey Jones. I think you might have heard of him, maybe not. And I made a short film called Love Monster or The Love Monster, and it was an interesting short film that I've made. Um,
Interesting.
interesting. It's not that good, but and it was while I was also trying to do like Lego stop motion, but
Yes.
I ended up just realizing that's kind of cool. So I didn't really go back to it until senior year, and I needed a practical art, and I was able to get into video production as a practical art. So I was like, yeah, I want to do that. I think my dad even mentioned that too.
Mm.
And so, you know, I I went into that uh with this great teacher, Wade Williams. He was awesome, but also kind of strict and kind of funny sometimes. But I made some short films in there, and that's where I really learned how to use Premiere Pro. They were able to give us access to it. I really liked the class in that sense. I was able to learn more about filmmaking, and then and just after that, I guess I just started editing people's stuff, and I got into college, started doing some stuff, but I I don't know, just I went into this is the last part I'm going to mention. I just went into filmmaking like, in person around fall of I think last year. So it is a little bit new to me to make like these films because, I didn't make that many last year besides the ones in the end of the year. So, yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah, fall of last year. That's also when we also met making a music video, coincidentally.
It was an amazing music video. I did amazing job
Yeah, you really
in
brought
that
out
one.
your acting chops in that one.
I mean, you did too.
A little bit. That
I
fake
mean,
whistle.
the fake whistle. I can't even believe, you're able to whistle in the actual film. Like, geez, I don't know how that's possible. Editing? I don't know. Um, okay, we can do you have anything else you'd like to say about how we got into filmmaking?
Uh, Not really.
All
It's
right.
kinda it.
Okay. So yeah, we can go into our inspirations. Um Ethan, what would you say is some of your inspirations for film?
Well, I guess the more I think about it, I don't really have a specific, like, person or I guess I do actually, but not, like, one thing that kind of inspires me. I guess a show I can think of off the top of my head in terms of how I think visually would be Better Call Saul, which I know you've watched too. I said,
Mhm. Oh yeah.
which I remember when I was watching that show, I was kinda just drawn in about how it feels so patient. Like, if I feel like it's kind of inspired how I approach, I guess, just filmmaking or how I tell stories in general. Just like being patient in terms of how I like write things, how I shoot, how I edit. Sometimes I like to go
Mhm.
jump cutty like crazy, but I think generally I like to tell slower paced stories and have shots that kind of just linger. And yeah, I guess that's like the top of my head, off the top of my head. Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Um Filmmaking approaches for me. I'd say Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul definitely did have an impact. Um but there were some other, you know, filmmakers that definitely, impacted how I wanted to do things. I didn't really watch any of his films, but Wes Anderson definitely is definitely interesting to me. I wouldn't probably film like him exactly, but just the idea of symmetry to that extent is pretty cool. Um, I'd say there was a lot of shows before Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, but to be honest, I can't think of any of them. I feel like just when I watch a show, it does kind of change my perception of how I do things, or maybe even life, in some sense.
Yeah, I get that.
Um, I feel like tone wise, I feel like it didn't impact how I made any films, but I feel like Steven Universe is like how they did serious stuff. Although that show is not taken that seriously, when I was young and still today, a lot of the scenes that are like really dark or serious, like, are amazing. I don't know, just I like those scenes a lot. Like, you know, they impacted how I, you know, see like,
You see
those
films.
moments. Just those moments. What's up?
I was just wondering if you're saying that's how it impacts how you see films in general, or is it just
Yeah,
like
like a serious tense scene. Like
yeah?
how they do it is really good. Maybe that's just me, but they do an amazing job in my opinion.
I guess what you're
Um,
saying is with the show like Steven Universe. I haven't watched it, but based on what I've seen, it's generally like a more lighthearted show. So those moments of drama they hit even heavier. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
yeah, they hit all hard. I don't even feel like I feel like Breaking Bad also hits hard, in a different way, but I feel like just the the amount they have to put in there, it's just so cool. And I don't know, I feel like there was another one on the I mean Taika Waititi and James Gunn, those are oh, Edgar Wright. I mean, it's just like their quirkiness I like, but recently I've actually really gotten into David Fincher though, and that feel.
Yeah, I saw your
Oh,
podcast episode, man.
yeah, Ozark definitely got me inspired when I was doing one of my latest short films, Queen for a Day. Definitely affected me in some sense,
Yes.
you know.
Queen for a day.
I know you love that one so much,
Yeah, I
and
love
you
both
also
of them.
love Deadlock. Maybe I should link both, but yours is actually not available on YouTube yet.
Yeah, yeah.
You
That's
guys are
been
taking
like
your sweet time.
I think it's finished actually. I haven't downloaded it yet.
Oh, so you're editing it?
No, William sent me the final version.
Okay, all right. Then upload it then. Anyway, it's I don't really have too many inspirations, I'd say, when it comes to uh, movies or anything. I feel like I've learned a lot from like watching videos or something. Like even uh what's it called? Just like I'm really trying to
What do
like
you want?
word
Like
it.
more technical things or like
Like
video
yeah,
essays is what you're
like
trying to
video
say?
essays. Video essays help me a lot. I don't know what it is. They affect my tone a lot, like how I want to do things writing wise, editing wise, just something like that. It's
Yeah.
of course not a movie isn't a video essay writing wise, but just editing and all that, the tone, everything. It's because I come from the of a like an editor, so you know, maybe you do too sometimes.
Sorry, say
Uh,
that again?
like you come from a like a mindset of an editor, which I feel like a lot of people should come from because at the end of the day, your product has to be edited, you know?
Yeah, I guess I don't know necessarily think of it with the perspective of an editor, sorry. It's just like more in my head, I guess the cuts are just made instantaneously. Like I don't think about, oh, make a cut here. I think it's just I visualize something and the cuts are there without me really thinking about it. Like it's more if I read something, if I read a script, I think that's one of the things I enjoy doing, like reading a script and just trying to and then having the visual like I'm fumbling right now. I guess seeing the visuals in my head play out, like with
Hmm.
the cuts, with the editing, and like how the certain angles I want, and how I prefer to shoot things. I think that's a big fun part of filmmaking for me right now, at least.
No, that's a good it's a good answer. I was gonna say if you have anything else to say about your inspirations, we can say that right now. But if you want, we can actually talk about the writing process.
I guess I can add something while I was thinking about
Okay, what's up?
it. I guess there I haven't really, even though I was trying to pursue filmmaking for the last like 3 years, I guess. I guess I didn't really start, like, watching a lot of movies until, like, pretty recently. I guess that's
Mm.
because, well, shout out to my professor, Frederick Thornton, for intro cinematography. I saw a lot of different movies in his class, and it kinda got me it gave me a like, there are a bunch of some weird movies, some movies I didn't like, and some movies that were just that I really liked, but I think generally it gave me a sense of what I like in a story, like, in terms of emotion and in terms of, I guess, not really cinematography, because I think I've kept like I mentioned, Better Call Saul, I kind of like that general kinda style. But I guess in terms of filmmaking, in terms of story and emotion, I think I'm a big fan of movies. I think I've mentioned this to people before, but I haven't said it to you directly. I like movies that will kind of take you on a ride with characters, and then they'll just rip your heart out, like, I love sad endings, honestly, I'll say that.
Hmm.
'Cause I think it's just like if when you get invested with something and then they just rip it away in like the cruelest way, not necessarily cruelest way, but like in a super effective but and logical way, it just makes you go like, "Wow." Like,
No,
I wanna be able to tell a story like that.
no, yeah, Ethan, that's a good point. I was actually gonna say, of a director I thought of that actually impacted the way I wanted to do storytelling and just tone, but we can uh, go more into that in the. Actually, no, I'll just mention him right now. Charlie Kaufman. After I watched what's that movie? What is it? I'm thinking of ending things. It really affected like how I wanted to do stuff. I mean, Parasite also affected how I wanted to do stuff too. But I feel like I'm thinking of ending things affected me a lot in that sense, just because it was really different and I really liked that. But some people don't.
Yeah, I
But
think
I saw it
that movie
as
is either you like it or you don't like it. It's kind of
what's your
divisive.
vibe? What's your thing?
I think I watched it with my sisters. It's just kind of like a random time to watch it. Like I don't know if I was in the right mindset for it, but I think I did enjoy parts of it. Like especially, I kind of like the ending with the whole it's like the dancing and the gymnasium. Like I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I would say I loved it.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it just affected like the idea of doing something in your mind. Like
Yeah, yeah,
movies could
I
be
get that. That
done
movie does a very
more
good job of
from
like
a
visualizing that.
yeah, that I thought that was really cool. And even the themes of it. Yeah. You have anything else or do you want to go to the next topic?
No, I guess let's move on.
All right. So, uh how we approach writing. So, uh how do you approach writing, Ethan, for like you're at the the typewriter, you're about to do it, you're about to spit out a banger. What are you about to do? What are you going to do?
I guess I'll preface this. I'm a huge procrastinator. Like it's a horrible habit of
Ah,
mine.
dude,
It's
no, that's
ridiculous
just me
sometimes.
too. Like, I'm before you go on. I mean, like, just the fact that you know, I just sit around sometimes, and I'm like, it's sometimes anxiousness. We'll probably get more into that with you, like what actually might help, might be the reason you procrastinate. Maybe it's just because that's just easier. But at the same time, it's like sometimes like creative people have to be in like a certain like mood or something. That's what I've noticed. It would have
Yeah,
probably been better if I mentioned that at the end. I just wanted to mention it right now, so
yeah. I
you
think I'm
can
like
go
that.
and talk about your writing thing and your procrastination.
I'll say what I typically do. I guess what I've done for the last couple ones. I kind of just outline. I usually get a general sense of what's going on. I like outline the general events, maybe certain characters, and maybe like certain like moments I want to happen. Which is maybe not the best way to do it. I feel like I'm trying to base my stories more on like overall themes that I want to establish more than like just certain events that I think would be cool.
Hmm.
But I usually just try to outline and then I have the outline and it's like weird. Like I'll do the outline real quick, but then I'll just have it sitting there for a couple of days. And then it's like you said, I'll just get like a creative rush and then I'll write like 12 pages and I'll stay up till like 4 a.m. I'll write 12 pages.
Mm.
It's weird.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fairly new into screenwriting after I took the class with the great Ron Mita. But yeah, I feel like I haven't done it that much.
You don't think Ron Mita's 24 plot points is the way to go?
Oh, I'm not a fan of that.
Why not?
I would say I do plot points, but not as crazy as he wanted us to do it. That was a struggle
It's
for me.
different for it's different for short films. He even said that. He said
Yeah,
like, "Oh, they usually need one twist in the middle,
yeah.
one twist at the
I think
end."
I do plot points kind of, but it's not really like mapping out like that. I think it's just like just like mapping out things that are going to happen. But I think it's just more simple than maybe he had it laid out in his
Hmm.
guides.
Let me think. I don't think for uh short films it works, but I can see why he would use it for something like a movie because a movie is very long and needs to have a consistent beat. But I feel like for short films, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, the story circle. That really works a lot or helps a lot.
What is a story circle?
Story circle is something that actually Dan Harmon created. It's one of it's the main writer in Rick and Morty, right?
And Community. I've watched that. I haven't watched
And
Rick and Morty though.
Community. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed between those shows, but they have a good you know, like story like flow, you know?
Yes. Well, I haven't watched
And
Rick and Morty, so I wouldn't know. I'm
well,
basing my base my opinion on Community.
does a community have a does community have a, a good story flow?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he usually says it's like, here's our character, right? That's number 1, right? There's 8 like points. But they want something. That's number 2. Number 3, they go into an unfamiliar situation. 4, they adapt to it, you know? 5, they get what they want, right? But 6, they pay a price for it. 7, they go back to their familiar situation, 8 having changed,
Mhm. Well, I can
you
I
know?
can kind of see the plot of Community mapped out in my head with that from when you say it like that.
Oh, is there a lot of episodes where someone changes at the end of it in that situation?
I think it's more over time changes
Um
because but in terms of the general like the premise, like I guess
the
the
one
main
I
character.
notice too is like they get what they want and pay a heavy price for it. I don't I can see that for some stuff, but I don't see that for everything. What's a good example from Community you can think of that has that?
Well, I guess Jeff Winger is like the initial thing is he goes to community college because I think it's I watched this show a couple years ago, so
Mhm.
it's a little I'm blanking a little bit, but it's kind of he lost his like law degree or what is it? What does they call like lawyers or whatever they get. He
Yeah.
lost the right to practice law because he I think he basically like he's fraudulent lawyer.
Mm.
So he goes to community college to like get it back. I guess that's the main goal. And then, but he gets what he wants in like a couple seasons, obviously. But he changes his whole approach in law by the end because originally he's like a scumbag. Like he's Saul Goodman, man. He's like a scumbag lawyer.
Yeah.
But then I guess through the cast of characters he meets in the community college, like he learns like he wants to be more kind. He wants to do things for people. So yeah, he gets that's his like character growth throughout the first like 4 seasons at least.
Hmm. That's funny.
But yeah,
um
I could mention more about my screenwriting if you want.
oh yeah, I would love that.
Okay, I guess this I do tend to watch a lot of YouTube videos just because sometimes I'm bored and sometimes just because you want to learn stuff and YouTube is a good resource just to learn stuff about filmmaking.
Yeah.
So what I would watch sometimes is those Better Call Saul like in Breaking Bad episodes. Like
Yeah.
sometimes they have like those commentary like logs. So I remember I would watch. I had a little phase where I would watch a lot of those. And I remember I saw something that Vince Gilligan said. It kind of stuck with me in terms of writing ever since. He said,
What?
it's like if you ever have a coincidence in your story, and like you should try not to, but if you ever do, only have a coincidence that what is it? Only have a coincidence that negatively affects the protagonist. Like let's say do you remember he says a specific example. Like do you remember Plan and Execution? Like when Jimmy notices the lawyer has like has a cast on after he
Yeah.
already took the pictures. Like that's a
Mhm.
coincidence, but that doesn't. It's not a coincidence in the sense that it benefits him. So it's not like Deus Ex Machina or anything. Like that actively harms their plot, and it puts their plot to like what is it, scam Howard like in risk. So it's
Mhm.
a coincidence, but it's a coincidence that isn't like isn't there for the sake of moving the plot forward, like helping Saul.
Hmm. No, I can see that. Oh, well, yeah, that's a kind of a thing too. Like number 5 and 6, they get what they wanted. They get the Mesa Verde thing, right?
Yeah,
But they pay a heavy price for it. Howard Howard's upset. They've completely I mean, I guess they wanted that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you know who comes knocking on their door after Howard?
Mr. Saul
Lalo.
knocked.
Actually, he just walks in. Right? Yeah, he just walks in.
And he just walks in and, takes the pistol out. Rest of history.
Yeah. Um at the end of the it's actually funny because they actually got what they wanted in the sense that, you know, now everyone has to believe that he takes drugs or he took drugs.
Yeah.
But he had to die in order for that to happen,
A little
because
twist of fate, I guess
because
you could
although
say.
people believed um that he was on drugs. I feel like that was the just the missing piece for everyone to believe it, you know?
Yeah.
Uh yeah, I'm trying to think for do you have anything else? Cuz actually I can just talk about my writing.
I think I have a little more.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
guess
keep
obviously,
going.
like I said before, I did have screenwriting, started screenwriting pretty recently, but I
Mhm.
think I do enjoy it, and I feel like, not to toot my own horn here, but I think I am a good screenwriter, at least right now. But I do think there's things I always have to work on. Like, I remember, this is just a symptom of taking a lot of AP English classes. Like, always I'm just inserting big words and getting a little too wordy with my
Mhm.
descriptions, and getting a bit too. I guess the thing with writing screenplays is what I saw. Like, you're not trying to dictate the emotion. I guess you can a little bit, but you're not trying to overly dictate the emotion of like an actor. Like, you should trust the actor to understand. Like, try not to. It's like, try not to like write out their thoughts as much. Like, try not to dictate that kind of flow of the, because you want the actors to have control. Like, you want to
Mhm.
you want them to have the freedom. So I guess that's something I kind of have to work on. But
Yeah.
yeah.
When it comes to I'm just going to talk a little bit about mine. I got to say I try to do the story circle thing. I try to figure out the main character somewhat, figure out how they may change and stuff like that. I've actually been less into writing recently. I just not as interested in writing as I used to be.
Mhm.
But I'd say, I'm still into, you know, writing a little bit, just
I
not
guess, could I
whole
interject here real quick?
scripts. What's up, man?
I guess for my first project in filmmaking too, Deadlocked, a
Yeah.
great one. What is it? I think I wrote it. I think I wrote the final draft, but what is this? Alan, yeah, Alan, he wrote the first draft, and I think I read it over, and I think I kind of advocated for myself, weirdly enough, in that situation where I was like, oh, I was like, I think I can write this. I think I can tweak this a little bit to make it a little better, and I did that, and then I guess it worked out because I remember overheard the actors saying this. They're like, "Oh, like the script is really good." And so I was like, it was an ego boost, but it was also like it gave me more confidence to work on script writing more. So for this next project that we're working on that you'll see next week, I wrote the whole script myself,
Mm,
and I'm pretty proud of it. I think there's some like awkward moments, which I think is inevitable. It's like when you're just starting out. But I think generally, I think it's a good script, and I think I'm trying to actively improve in my weaknesses that I mentioned earlier. Yeah.
that's cool.
I just think like anything, it's like it's like a work in progress. You always gotta try to improve. The only way to improve is practice.
Yeah. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, I just haven't been because I used to be more into writing, I'd say.
Mm.
Trying to think of like when I kind of stopped trying to do writing for short films. And I'd have to say it would be uh I don't know, because the last one I didn't write. I didn't want to write it. I just wanted to direct it. Um it's I mean, I guess it just happened ever since high school. Like I wrote those, but I just didn't like writing. I like directing more, so I
Hmm.
just wanted to not do that as much. My process then was just, like I said, the story circle. I really believe in that. Tyler Mowry goes over a lot of that, and he's really cool. He's on YouTube, and I just feel, the story circle makes sense. It's not like uh,
24 plot points
the 24
listed.
plot points. It's not the best for you know a a short film. So I'd say when it comes to uh, you know, writing it though, I still want there to be, I guess, certain character moments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess I can just
I
go
guess what I will
into
say, I think the 24 plot points can work if you've done something like the plot circle before. Because I think for some people, maybe just listing out events is easy, but I think for most people, just having an idea of the general like characters and certain moments, because everyone when you write a script and you have an idea, everyone has certain moments that you wanna
Hmm.
put in.
One
So I
thing
think,
I've
yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say one thing I've noticed when I was making fixing scripts, because I started doing that just when I started directing, or just when I'm directing recently. Yeah, it actually happened with both my dad and Brandon, the one that wrote Queen for a Day.
Yes.
Queen for a Day was written by Brandon, and then my dad hopped in and wrote the flashback scene.
Yes.
I didn't have too many problems with the flashback scene. It helped a lot, but I did want a moment before he gets out of his bindings. So I had to add something to the flashback where he looks at her like ass, and then she looks back, and then he's like, and um, he is a jerk in this short film. He's a jerk. But one thing I liked and I needed to have, because Brandon did not have that exactly in it. He had it just barely there, enough for the scene to work, but not enough for me. I wanted him to lie more to her about himself, and I wanted it to sound really good. And because I wanted him to pretend that he is this person that he isn't, just to get out of the situation. He's
Yeah.
lying that he liked her. He's lying that, you know, she broke up with him, you know? He's lying that he's this um
Mhm.
you know, sensitive guy that really liked a sensitive, shy guy that liked her, you know? He's
Yeah.
just an asshole, a jerk, you know?
Mhm.
So I that was very important to me. And this new script, Hypnotic, I'm not gonna go too much into the story, but the girl character is supposed to be kind of not a good person either.
Mhm.
She is self-absorbed and just not the best person. We don't get too much into that. It's not really too much about her, it's about their relationship. But the first thing uh she says to him, apparently, that when they met, was, "Do you think I look hot?" That was what my dad wrote. And then at the end, "Do you think I look hot?" When my dad wrote it, I'm pretty sure he meant that as a joke, in the sense that even at the end, the way she says it would be a joke.
Yeah.
But I think, where I'm going with this, Ethan.
Mhm.
I don't want it to
Probably.
be that way. It can't be a joke, that line.
You
So
want
I
it to have a
changed it.
sense of tragedy to it, I'm guessing?
"Do you think I look pretty?" I changed it to, "Do you think I look pretty?"
Yeah.
I That's what I mean. As you hear it the first time, you think that's really like I don't know, just not what you say,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you hear someone say the first words were, "Do you think I look pretty?" You think, well, that doesn't sound like the best kind of person, right?
Or do you
Now,
mean, do you think I look hot? Because I think
I just
it
changed it to, "Do you think I look pretty?" for the end. So it actually, so technically, so he still says, "Do you think I look pretty?" in the beginning.
Mhm.
So I did change it, but there's a reason I did. So, "Do you think I look pretty?" in the beginning just seems shallow, just seems whatever. Just all in a general sense, it sounds egotistical for her to say,
Yeah.
even if she is asking him a question that would seem, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna just explain what I meant for it at the end. I'm going to have her, um, I guess, deliver it in a more sensitive, vulnerable, and genuine manner. And
Yeah.
I think that's very important. And then he smiles.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's important to just me, but I think that's really good, and just makes it a better story. I don't know if you can see why that might make it a better story,
Yeah, I
but
can I can kinda get what you're going for with that, yeah.
because if it's just self-centered at the end, it's not
Mhm,
gonna feel good. But if it's somewhere that feels like she wants him to believe that she's pretty or just something like that,
mhm.
and that she loves him, just likes him so much, I think that'll make the story so much better.
Yeah, it'll add, I guess, a sense of more maybe like, 'cause obviously I don't know more of your script, but just from my surface level analysis of it, it's like you want a more personal feeling at the end of it, or you want more like a sense of like loss or like devastation is what
Not
kind of what
really
I'm getting at.
devastation, no.
Or yeah, I think
It's
devastation is a strong word, but I guess you want more of like an emotional, like less that she's like
it's
looking
not
for
supposed to be
attention.
sad. It's she may seem sad slightly,
Mhm,
but the way I feel the audience will take it as, we're, you know, we can see why they're together,
mhm,
you know? Like we can see anyone, we can see ourselves
mhm.
um being the guy and a girl asks us that in that way is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Get what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of like my writing approach. I've been trying to write more genuinely recently. Like that's a theme. That was a theme in I mean also like deception, you
Mhm,
know? That's those are weirdly enough two themes I like a lot. I don't know why, but the genuineness in Queen for Day was different than in this one. This one's actually supposed to end genuinely. That one was someone trying to use a facade of being genuine to, you know,
to get like escape, get what they
to
want.
escape, to get what they want, which is not right. But at the same, I mean, which is not right in a sense, but at the same time, what she's doing is wrong. So I
Mhm,
also like moral ambiguity. I don't know.
yeah.
Any other things you want to talk about with writing?
No, good.
All right. Let's go on to lighting. We don't have to talk too much about this one because I don't even know how much I would say about this one. What do you think?
Well, I guess lighting is, I guess my practical understanding of lighting is probably my weakest. I do try to use again YouTube to just get resources to get an idea of it. So I
Yeah.
do I do know like the more standard things like like light sources, color temperatures, how to use reflectors and flags and like fill lights. I don't know if you know any of this stuff, but I do
Not
I do
really.
know I do know more of theory, but I think in the short films I've been doing is just trying you to get more practice of doing that like in reality. But
Hmm.
then yeah, I do have an okay understanding of lighting in terms of in theory,
In theory.
all
Hmm.
in theory.
But what do you like using? How do you like using your lighting? And what's your approach to lighting a scene?
I guess what I will say, a very specific example from Deadlocked. There's a specific shot. Do you remember? Do you remember my character Roland?
I think so. Yeah.
Do you remember when he's like confessing about how spoiler alert, but no one I've probably seen Deadlocked in this who's ever listened to this. Spoiler alert when he reveals that he killed his wife and child on accident. Like do you remember you know when like that shot of him where it's just like he's sitting there but it's super tight on him and like he has like a half of his face is lit up, half of it's not.
Hmm.
Like that was something from the very beginning I advocated for. I was like, we need to do like the lighting exactly like this. What I was thinking, it was a little different from how I originally envisioned it. But if you've seen the movie Persona, I really wanted to do something like that. But then it's a little different from how I imagined it. But I kind of wanted to get that like weird sense of like it's like you see the emotions on his face, but then you also get the sense of like how the other person in the background is reacting. And I guess with the half shadow, it's kind of like because throughout the film in the beginning, like he's kind of this he has this everyman kind of sense to him, but with the end with that angle of him and like the half shadow, it's kind of giving a sense of oh, even before he confesses, you're like oh something's off with this guy, like he has
Hmm.
secrets. So it's
Yeah.
I guess it's like lighting is like probably the most powerful tool that honestly all of us in our class and just like beginner filmmakers need to get a better understanding of because lighting is the key to making your films look good. Like I look at a lot of filmmakers like discussions and like I guess subreddits, and they always talk about the importance of lighting Like if you have a bad camera, if you ever use your iPhone, but you have really good lighting, it'll still look better than someone that say uses a black magic but has no understanding of lighting and never even attempts to do something with lighting. So lighting is like probably one of the most important aspects of filmmaking that maybe we at this stage in our levels don't utilize enough.
Yeah. So you're gonna be really upset when I explain my thing of lighting. But
Let's hear it.
I mean, I like using the lights, you know,
Hmm.
especially when, for example, in Queen for Day, I had to use it for uh the candlelit scene. Originally, I was just gonna have it all, and this is what I'm gonna say right now. So originally, actually, I'm not gonna say what I originally did, but we ended up just using the lights to make it look like it was candlelit.
Hmm.
What I like doing is using a lot of practical lights and a good amount of light. I do like shadows and all that to make it look cool. But at the end of the day, I don't want to think about that too much. I want to rather film it. That's why it would be cool to just have some random person, do it.
So you don't really care about lighting that much.
Not as much as I probably should. I do want to start learning more about it,
Yeah.
but right now I'm
Actually, I
also
can give you a YouTube channel that kind of like opened my eyes a little bit pretty recently. Like they have a
okay.
couple of videos that are like crazy in terms of lighting.
Yeah, you can send me that. But yeah, I'm not too big into lighting, but I understand, how important it is, but I don't want it to affect how we shoot things in the sense that cuz maybe you're filming really fast or something, you don't want to move the lights too many times, So
Mm.
that kind of thing.
I guess with that, I
Um
guess that comes in terms of the. Well, I guess we were gonna have a section on this, but maybe actually maybe not. It comes down to your planning, because
mhm,
like you obviously because what we did for Deadlocked is we mapped everything out. Like we had a diagram of where we'd put the cameras, where we'd put the lights, where we do everything, and that kind of helped like expedite the process of setting up and doing all that stuff beforehand.
hmm, yeah.
It's just like pre-production is obviously very important. Like well, obviously we all want to shoot, but like I think we can't neglect the importance of pre-production. You know what I mean?
Mhm, yes. Hmm. I'm going to add another topic, by the way, but it's not going to come till later. It's going
Yeah.
to be after acting, before editing, it's going to be directing.
Mm.
It kind of covers all of them, but we'll talk about it though. Um, anything else about lighting?
No, just that generally I'm trying to get better at it.
Mm, no, I got it. All right. Cinematography.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, I will say, I think you agree too. Better Call Saul changed my life with cinematography. You know how many low angle shots I do a lot now? Not low angle, but like ground level. You know what I'm talking about? They do a lot of ground level shots.
Yeah. I guess one thing I specifically from Better Call Saul, it's
Hmm.
like establishing shots with intention, or establishing thoughts shots that just aren't there to show the location, but are there to like I guess establish kind of what the greater like point of the scene is about. Like
Hmm.
I remember I saw this example like because I watch a lot of video essays.
Yeah.
It's a scene where it's a scene where the greater overall like point of the scene is to show that Kim. It's like when I think it's season 4 because when Jimmy has his license suspended
Yeah.
and Kim is kind of like helping him keep up with all like the cases he has.
Oh yeah.
Like the general thing, the general sense we're getting of it is that Kimmy is like overloaded, but is getting stressed out by the work. Like she can't focus on Mesa Verde, and she can't focus on, and like obviously this is a build up to her eventual car. You remember her car crash.
Yeah, I remember the car crash.
So the way they open the scene, like obviously this is just like a small example, and they could have shot the scene like this regardless whether they had the intent to do it like this. But like they opened the scene with her talking to Jimmy's like the elderly people, and I guess it's kind of simple, but it's kind of a small example of the greater thing I'm talking about. Like that I got from Better Call Saul is like those establishing shots. You don't just want to do it just to do it. You get what I mean? It's like you do
Hmm.
everything with intent.
No, no, I get it. Intent. Hmm. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Um, no, I can see that intent. Uh, no, I like that too. When they do like wider establishing shots, they did that a lot in Breaking Bad.
Yes.
But
I guess do you have anything more? Like, do you like storyboarding? Because I love storyboarding.
hmm, one second, I'm just thinking of like where to put that. Storyboarding might be a
Well, it's because that's a part of cinematography. Unless you want to do a certain thing on pre-production.
what? Hold on, no. Cinematography, yeah, no, that is basically storyboarding cinematography. Yeah, how do you like doing like storyboarding?
Oh, I'm a bad drawer. Like that's just the thing. But I do enjoy kind of doing it because even if I have the image in my head, it's like just good to get it out there physically. You know.
Hmm.
And I think, yeah, sometimes even I can't tell what some of my drawings are, like stick figures, but it like gives me the gist of what I'm trying to get. So I do think storyboarding is a very valuable part of the pre-production, I guess, just filmmaking process in terms of cinematography.
Hmm. Well,
And I think, yeah,
since I do a lot of tighter shots, I do circles, and that helps me a lot.
you do
And
circles. Oh, just like
yeah,
stick figures, you mean,
and
or
a
something
lot
like that.
of okay, a lot of shots
Hmm.
in movies are just shot reverse shot. It's
Hmm.
not a bad thing. Better Call Saul does it too. A lot of their shots are shot reverse shot.
It's just economic.
And the thing is, I like those a lot. I mean, you have to do it properly. I think No Country for Old Men's one of the best, ways to do it. And they only use like two shots. It was the most powerful scene I've ever seen.
Yeah,
And how I usually do it is if they're facing the camera, I do that thing that a lot of artists do, where I draw the outline for their where their nose would be. You know what I'm saying? The like
yeah,
the
yeah,
the
yeah.
it's like a cross, but kind of circle-ish.
Hmm.
And yeah, I uh I do that when they're facing the camera. And it helps a lot know like what the shot's gonna look like in proportion to their faces. Their heads are very important in the
Uh-huh.
like planning shots.
Yeah,
So that's how I
planning.
that's
It's
how I
all
usually do it.
filmmaking.
But cinematography wise though,
Yeah, I guess.
um
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I like a lot of static shots, but sometimes I'll move the camera. But I don't do it often, and I only do it for like epic scenes. And
Mm,
sometimes I don't even do that. I just change focus or something.
yeah.
What
I
about you?
think I think I found generally I do like static shots, but I do like motion. I think for me, if I'm doing something, it's either if I'm doing motion, it's either gonna be really subtle or like just not there at all, or I'm just gonna go fucking. It's gonna be wild, and it's gonna be there for a very specific reason. But generally, it's like not there. Like I also like the idea. Maybe I haven't done this in practice, but I do like the idea of like those long like one take sequences. Like I really want to in a short film. At one time, I was on one point. I really want to do like a really long like one take, maybe at least like a minute,
I
like minute
actually,
30.
yeah, I like doing long takes, but the thing with me is since I'm an editor, I
Yeah.
think about how much potential footage I could get. So
Hmm.
although I'm also a director in that mind where I want like I want to use certain shots no matter if the acting is really bad in a shot.
Yeah.
Um the editor in me is still like I really really want just some variety, you know?
Yeah.
So I like filming scenes in more than one shot, but sometimes you can't really do that, especially when we're college students. So we don't have a lot of time. So that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think when I edit, I get a little bit director's brain. Like if there's certain performances that I really enjoy, and like moments, I can't help but use it. I think it's just in me. Like even
I
the editor in me really wants to not, if there's like a better shot, the editor in me wants to use that,
I
but
really
the
think
other part of me can't help but do it.
I think editors like more acting rather than shot composition.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, that's how I feel about it too. Actually, the more now
But
I think about it.
I I can't sometimes, although I like acting a lot. I feel like they should just do the same thing for every take in the sense that you should do it the same from a different angle cuz I really think angles are very important in a
Yeah,
story. But
yeah.
at the
I
same
will
time, I
say, yeah.
understand.
Go
What's
ahead.
up? I
I
just
will
I s-
say that like I also understand in terms of like the, obviously you want the, maybe it's like you want it to be by the book or at the very least stay the same.
Mhm.
Like, and I think the perfectionist in me, whenever, because whenever I've been on things and I've worked with very talented actors, they kind of we give them the freedom to kind of just go on their own, and it's like maybe there's like a small part of me that's like, oh, I wish you would just stick to the book. But I think even if it maybe hurts in editing, sometimes I think letting the actors be free to do what they want, improvise, whether or not it's switches from time to time. It might
Mm.
make a little difficult editing. I found that allowing actors to do that, or it's probably pretty obvious, but like giving people freedom to do what they want will be better results. But that's what I found.
No, no, I get you. Yeah, do you want to go straight into acting?
Yeah, let's go into it.
Okay. So acting. It's I mean, it's based off of what we want from actors, but also, how we like acting, like in the sense that like how do we want to act in a movie? Like what's our MO? So let's start first with what you want from actors and then we'll talk about our MO as
Okay,
actors
well,
on the screen.
first off, what I want from actors.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'll speak from the perspective of a
And your
director, I
approach,
guess.
by the way, too. Yeah. Hmm.
I'll talk about what I want, I guess, first. What I want, obviously, first is them to just bring their A game, just bring like care about the project first and foremost. But also, I want them to feel comfortable because I feel like it's like that's part of the job of director and just like everyone in the cast in general is creating an environment where they feel comfortable. If we're telling an emotional story, like you want them to feel comfortable in like letting go and doing stuff like that. If you want an intense scene, it's not gonna feel the same if the environment surrounding them is uncomfortable. Like with actors also, but beyond that, with actors, I think it's kind of like I said earlier. I like giving them the space to do what they want. I want them to feel creative because I have what I have, but I never want them to feel like, maybe it's probably be different as we go up in like prestige, I guess, in terms of productions. But at least at this stage, I never want actors to feel like they're stuck to my interpretation of a text or if how I wrote it. It's like if they feel like they have a certain different way they want to approach it, then what I think is more power to them. Just let them do
No, that's a very mature thing to
it.
say.
Yeah.
I'd say I want to do because I'm an actor, so I'm gonna talk about that not my MO, like I said we're talking about later, but I'm gonna talk about just how that applies to my my actor. So I have a way of wanting of how I want this, a scene to be performed. I do have that feeling in my like chest or brain or whatever to, talk to them and be like, "Hey, you got to form that line like this or
Yeah,
this."
I will say
But
I do direct them on certain things because there's certain things like obviously there's room for interpretation, but there's also certain things where I'm like, no, we're gonna do this one part my way. Like we have to do it like that.
but I do want to like help them to a certain point.
Yeah.
So cuz it is superficial to just have them perform it the exact same way you perform it, but at the same time, sometimes it's very important for you
Yeah,
to just tell them how
I
to
do
say it.
think that's part of making a good like like I said earlier, making a comfortable environment, like letting know it's like this is a place where you can feel comfortable. Like I guess giving different opinions, and we can talk about it, and we can like I debate, I guess debate in like quotations because it's not really debate. It's like we're just discussing like the creative differences, or just maybe how our visions of certain characters and plot lines merge, or how they're different.
No, yeah, I get it. Um Yeah, but with acting, I just want to be able to tell them that, but at the same time, I do want them to perform it how they would perform it. But
Yeah.
how about? I mean, you can just explain it to them.
Yeah.
How you want something to happen. You got to explain their mindset. Have them imagine something. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you just say, um, you know, what they're thinking, just something like that.
Mhm.
And I think that's a good way to go about it too. But I do feel like sometimes it is very important to be like, hey, I really want you to just perform it the way I want you to perform.
What I will say about that, I guess there's like I think there's differences in in terms of how you want them to perform it. Like there's the greater emotional context, and there's maybe like the way certain actors say certain lines. Because I know when I worked with certain actors, because I've worked with the same actor in like two different projects. Like
Hmm.
that actor has a very specific way of like saying certain words, and maybe it's not like how I like it, but I found that just in general of like the broader emotional context, I think like also as a screenwriter, it's like if it's a good script, like you don't need to direct them really on what you want. They'll kind of just get it. So I think if there's a good script and it's a good story, they'll like kind of intuitively understand.
Hmm. Yeah, I got you. I mean, it's hard too because it's like you imagine yourself as a character, but sometimes you just imagine yourself as just yourself. So it's kind
Yeah.
of hard too. That's how you kind of want some of your lines to do. Like, how would you do the line if you were in the scene? That's a lot about you know uh acting. Being a different character, but also being you in the sense
Yeah.
that it's
I get
you
I get
performing
what
it.
you
Um,
mean.
yeah, I don't know. I guess we can just go over the like how we like to act. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you don't like acting too much, but sometimes it can be fun, right?
I think I just have to feel comfortable. Like I can definitely if in the studio production class, I've acted pretty extensively for both of those projects. I think I do enjoy it. I think maybe just with Kalani specifically, I think in terms of acting together, I think we bounce off each other really well in terms of acting. Like it's just fun. I think I like it when it's fun, but obviously I'm not like an actor, so I don't really care that much. I just do it for fun
It was
and
studio production, right? Or
yeah, studio production.
okay, yeah. I really like just acting in the sense that I just really I'm a very because I have noticed recently I do have a very superficial way of looking at things,
Mm.
but I can be aware of that and I can be whatever. But in
Would you
some
care to
ways,
elaborate on that when you say
yeah,
you have
I
a
will.
superficial way of
With
looking at things?
I'm gonna give an example with acting. So
Ah, okay.
I feel like if anyone's like extroverted or anything
Hmm.
like that, they're a good actor in the sense that they can put themselves out there to do different things and also they can emote because a lot of people emote when they're in different situations where they wouldn't emote like that usually.
Yeah.
So someone that's extroverted will be able to do that very easily. But I've noticed that that's not always the case, you know. It's other things too, you know.
I think in terms of
And
acting, like the performance you can get is all. I think it really depends on the environment. Like I said earlier, like if someone feels comfortable, whether or not they're introverted or extroverted, they'll be able to give a decent performance at the very least.
yeah, that's what I thought and think too as well. I don't think I think more shy people have a problem with acting, but I feel like at the same time, I feel like anyone can knows how something is supposed to be done,
And it's
you know?
Like Gusteau said in Ratatouille,
But
anyone can
some
cook.
people just can't act or just don't try. It's weird because
Yeah,
I feel like the ones that because there's examples like Tommy Wiseau, but it's just
he
hard
tries.
for me to imagine people that try and are really bad at acting. But I know those exist.
Yeah,
Because it's like they have a certain somewhat understanding. I
mhm,
feel like it's when they can't they can't get themselves into a character. They can't act like a human being. And I think that's the main thing.
I think that is inevitable for some people. Like
Yeah.
not you're not gonna mesh with every character. I think generally in terms of the not trying thing, it's also just a case of there's a lot of people they have like they're embarrassed. They don't wanna risk embarrassing themselves. Like if it's like a loud performance, like for this, like I'll say this. for our latest studio production thing, I'm doing a very fucking high pitched voice, and if I was being embarrassed about that, I wouldn't be able to give a good performance. But I think sometimes you just have to say fuck it. Like it's like who cares? Who cares? Who cares if someone like thinks it's cringe or whatever? It's like it's just for the story, and it's fun. Just it's like that's also comes down to the environment. Like I don't like, in terms of our crew, like I don't feel like they're gonna judge me or anything. Like it's just for fun. And it's like it's fun doing it, and it's fun acting and like that. And the story is fun, and it suits it. So
Yeah. No, I got you. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like acting. Acted since freshman year of high school,
Mm,
and then I stopped when high school's over because I was going to go more into film. And I'm going to spend a lot of next term just acting. And that's the last film class I got to take, studio production. It sounds like I'll be acting a lot in that one. So
yeah, because
I
it's
think
kind of
that's
like,
pretty
do you remember
cool.
film one where it was kind of like you're the actors and the people making it?
Uh huh.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that.
Okay. That sounds really fun. And I'll
It's
make
kind of
sure
like
to do
back to
that.
basics after film too.
Yeah, I'll make sure to. I'm very excited to go back to that because that was more fun, just that amateurish thing too.
Yeah,
I
less
I agree.
expectations, I guess,
I
generally.
Okay. Before we end this part of the topic,
Mhm,
this thing, unless you have more stuff to say about acting, um, I don't like that our teacher said or Sarah said that like, oh, it's easier to work with these actors on these websites, or whatever. I guess maybe you have a different experience, but I feel like not really. I guess it's only because they didn't live out here, so
mhm.
it's also really hard. But at the same time, I feel like it would be a lot easier to work with someone younger, someone around our age, you know,
Yeah.
just got out of high school, that kind of thing.
Well, I think with
And that would
that,
be a lot easier.
but in terms
What's
of
up?
that, I think it's just like hit or miss sometimes because you never know. Like I haven't had really any. Well, we actually did have a bad experience with an actor, but then we didn't work with it. Like we had an actor lined up, and then he basically like ditched us like last minute. So we had to get an emergency. Like the Asian guy TK or the
Yeah.
actor we had for Roland. That guy was a
Hmm.
last minute replacement, but then he did really fucking well. But then because the other guy just like decided to ditch us, and he after we replaced him, he was being super unprofessional about it. So we did have a bad experience with an actor. It's just like it wasn't
Did
on
he
set, so it wasn't that bad. But
yeah.
yeah,
So he wanted to still be the role even if he dropped out last minute?
it wasn't really he dropped out. It was kind of like we reiterated the schedule multiple times, and we communicate, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then last minute, he's like, "Oh, actually, I'm doing something right now." It's like I can't. It's like I'm doing something right now, and it feels like he forgot about the schedule, like he's disrespecting us as a crew. So we replaced him because obviously we have shooting days planned and we have a production schedule, and we can't just stop for an actor like that hasn't even shot any scenes yet. So
Yeah.
we just pivoted, and then obviously he got mad. He's like, I think he texted Carlos. He's like, "Do you know what you're doing right now is super unprofessional." It's like he didn't just fuck us over by ghosting us.
Yeah.
It's like he had the audacity to say that.
Mhm.
So
It
it's kind of like
is kinda goofy.
yeah, bad experiences are always gonna happen. Well, Action
Yeah.
52, bad experiences. Well, I won't get more into that, but generally, like that's inevitable. You're always gonna have bad experiences, but then thankfully for the last two projects and the studio project, I have a great experiences. It's a good environment, good productive environment, and fun environment. You
Yeah.
know,
Um, yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking about multiple things. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, I feel like when it comes to just actors, I really just like working with people close by and more available. I think that's maybe another thing too.
yeah. I
Just
think that
that.
just comes down
And
to like
also,
again like pre-production, just getting all your ducks in a row. I guess
yeah,
like
and also
planning.
having a personal connection. I try to get a lot of my friends to act in it,
Mhm.
even if that's maybe not the best idea. I just like doing that, you know? I know them, I can talk to them. I like that.
Do you think that's maybe a symptom of you like you're not feeling comfortable, I guess, working because if you get like higher up in production and stuff like it's gonna be inevitable. You're gonna work with people you don't know. Is
Yeah,
it just like you don't feel comfortable doing that yet, or how is that?
I can work with new people, but I
It just
feel
feels more.
like
It feels more comfortable. You'd say.
yeah, I feel I mean I feel like even directors pick certain actors, but at the same time too, they work with new people, but I feel
Uh-huh.
like they try to make a connection with them too as well. Like I
Yeah,
feel like
like we
they
kind of made a
probably have like
connection
a
with our one actor. Yeah, so I get what you
yeah.
mean.
So I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, do you have some stuff to talk about with directing, right?
But I guess before I say that, I guess in terms of casting, like this, the whole point of like what I will say, I encourage you to maybe I don't know, like for your this is more like general advice. I guess like even though it feels uncomfortable, it's like this whole point of like film school, I guess, and what we're doing. It's like get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like get comfortable with doing new things.
Yeah.
So it's like we're gonna have to do it anyway. So might as well get all the kinks out now. But before we're like money's on the line or anything. You know what I mean?
You know, yeah, I do. Sometimes I like zone out. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like also when it comes to, I guess, actors' looks, I have an idea of that. Like, I would be like, oh, that person wouldn't find that person especially attractive, so I don't think that would be a good idea. Or oh, um, it doesn't make sense that they're tall, they're this other way. I don't know. I also
Yeah.
don't like it if a bunch of characters have the same color hair. So
That just seems like a nitpick, honestly.
no, I mean that's the thing though. Like for Queen for a Day, I think Kalani wanted to be one of the characters, but I was like, no. I mean, number one, you look too young for it. Second of all, I want the other guy to play it, Ethan, because he's a lighter haired boy that looks old. Or
Yeah,
he does look older than Kalani though,
yeah, he
in
does.
my opinion. So it worked better for my favor, I thought. You know,
Mhm.
he looked like he could have been in his 20s. So
And maybe you're a little satisfied for that ending with the gunshot scene because of the actor you chose.
oh my gosh, yeah, that
But
was
you
a
know, I won't go more into that for
yeah.
your own sake.
yeah. So all right. Yeah. We'll go into directing. So directing. Yeah, how do you feel about directing? What's your, opinion, your approach, that kind of thing?
I think what I will say is, I think I'll say this before. I'll say this before I get into directing. I actually want my main focus that I wanted to do when I started, like this year, I guess, was cinematography. But the weird thing is that's the thing I actually ended up doing the least. Like I've been doing everything else but that. But then, I guess yeah, I'll get into directing now that I said that. I guess directing is fun. I guess it's fun, especially because for the last one I directed, I wrote the script. So it's kind of like you have your director's vision and you have the screenwriter's vision. So you kind of have like I guess you have the most pure idea of how the story should be. So it's fun, and it's like you said, I try not to direct or like order people to my way, but I found at least the experience I had so far has been pretty seamless because I think the scripts have been good enough or enough for the actors to understand. So like I haven't had to make any like huge changes where I'm like, whoa, like you're doing it completely wrong. Do it my way or get the fuck out.
Dang.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I've directed you. What would you say I was like as a director?
You're good. I actually want to work with you again. Directing or writing wise, you're really good. It's just you're going to, see sun, so that's gonna be a little hard, but we'll find something to do,
I mean, I'm not moving, so if
Yeah.
you ever want,
You don't ever want to do a side thing. I mean, that could be fun too. I mean, I actually have a bunch of ideas where it's either short film or a longer film.
uh-huh.
I really want to do longer films, like, but it's really hard. So I do try to do shorts, but I only do shorts for projects and when it comes to like maybe a festival and they have like what's the word called, like requirements.
Uh-huh.
That's the ones I like where there's like kind of restrictions in that sense.
Or
You
so
know?
like it's like sometimes having restrictions can also like free you up is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, yeah. So I like doing it for those. I don't really like doing it like just randomly.
Mm.
Unless I had like a really, really good idea or someone else had a really good idea and I would direct it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. Um But when it comes to directing, my belief is how you direct kind of reveals a lot about you, you know? Like,
Mhm.
the film auteur thing,
Yeah,
it shows a lot of your soul into it too, I
yeah.
feel,
I guess what I will
you
say
know?
with that is generally what I try to do. I try to create a pretty comfortable environment.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want anyone to feel like pressures to do anything a certain way, or I just want everyone to feel comfortable whenever I direct. Like I think I tried to do that a lot with our group, especially because with the whole like the other group member thing, and like
Hmm.
it was kind of stressed out, and we had to like switch. So I think generally my main thing there was just to keep it light, keep the environment like the atmosphere light.
Yeah, that's cool. Um, yeah, I mean, I try that too. I know that like I've been learning recently that as a director, you basically have to do everything. Not everyone's going to do their job, and you have to be ready to step in to do their job.
Yeah.
But it's really hard
I
because
think
you
with that,
want
well, you've
people
also
to
had some bad
do.
luck in terms of your groups, but it's also like you can't. It's like as a director, you obviously need to have confidence in your crew, and then sometimes if the crew is not good, that can be hard. So yeah,
I mean, you
I get,
have to do your job really well too.
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But like
It's a
what I'm
mix of
saying is
things.
to do your job well as a director, you need confidence in like your DP, even like your producers, like even like just maybe if someone's just being a PA or like I guess working as a PA, but like just everyone on set, you need everyone to be doing their job. For you to do your job well, other people need to be like on the same game. But obviously, as a director, you're a leader kind of. So it's like it's kind of a direct being a director is kind of a tough job because you're obviously a leader, and being a leader means like you just kind of have to like suck it up sometimes and just like even if you don't like something or like it's not something like not a deal, sometimes you just have to live with it sometimes because you just have it's for the sake of as a director keeping the experience like seamless.
Yes, I agree.
I kind of just had like word vomit there for a second, but I hope you get what I was going for.
No, I get it. Um, Yeah, last project I worked on, I liked being behind the camera, but in the sense not holding the camera, because
Yeah,
Kalani
just
was
like
holding the camera as
observing and
the
like
assistant.
analyzing the performance.
I actually think it would be cool actually to have the assistant director also be the cinematographer, because the director always has to tell you anyway, like, oh, do it that way,
uh,
do it the way I tell you. So, and it's cool too because the assistant director is supposed to be there for multiple things, you know. And I feel like if you had, I mean, I'm just saying for like a smaller film. Of course, the assistant director is busy with multiple other things,
mhm,
so he can't even imagine, or she can't even imagine touching the camera. But it worked a lot. Yeah, I just was in the moment, when it
yeah,
came to that. Tomorrow I won't be able to because I'll be holding the camera, but I think I can in a sense, you know.
yeah, I get what you mean.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just really like the idea of directing, and planning stuff out, but it's just really hard. I just want to be able to show myself in film, and I feel like that's the main way to do it. Just be the director or the editor or
Yeah.
both, more or less both. But
I think with
editor
that,
is
like
also very
the
important.
more jobs you take on, the more stress you cause yourself at that point. So yeah, be
Yep.
careful not to like burn yourself out in terms of that in that
Yeah.
aspect of it.
It's kind of hard for me to imagine somebody editing something that I direct. So I understand why people that are directors are upset with me because I want to edit their projects, but at the same time, because I'm like that too. But at the same
It's
time,
like
I'm like,
you kind of
I
can't
don't know
help
if
putting your
I
own
also,
vision in it.
yeah, and I also don't understand if they think they're the best, even though they're not. Sometimes, as in editing wise, because I think I'm better.
Mhm.
And if you want, we can go straight into that, unless you have more stuff to talk about with directing.
No.
All right, editing. I love editing. Premiere Pro all the way. I will never touch DaVinci. I'm just saying. I really like uh seamless editing, meaningful editing, I'm being very vague. But I don't like certain transitions. Sorry if I'm going first, Ethan. I
Yeah.
just really like this topic. I really don't like cross dissolves. That's one thing I do not like with Better Call Saul.
Mm.
Ah, no, it's so bad though. I mean, when you just throw in like a cross dissolve during Perfect Day. That one scene, you know what I'm talking about? Perfect Day, right? The
Elaborate a
like
little more.
yeah, season 6, episode 9, Perfect Day.
Season 6
The
episode? Isn't that Fun and Games?
yeah, Fun and Games. The beginning of Fun and Games.
Oh, like, you're saying, like, oh, you're saying the song. At first, I thought you were trying to say the episode, like,
Yeah,
name. That's
no, Fun
interesting.
and Games. That was a really good episode. And that beginning was so cool,
Uh-huh.
but those cross dissolves were gross. All right. They
Maybe Vince
actually
Gilligan, like, knew that, and he was trying to, like, give you the sense of, like, "Oh, you shouldn't be happy watching this, so you put cross the balls on just for you, John."
oh, oh, okay. Well, it was a beautiful scene until because all the match cuts were really cool. That's one joke that they like doing where like they have like blood
Uh,
being
and then the
like a
ketchup.
ketchup or tomato sauce.
Yeah,
I think that's really funny.
yeah. I'm gonna have to
but
rewatch Better Call Saul at some point, actually,
but
because
I love match cuts. Any kind of match cut.
match
Or
cuts.
like I mean, I count these as match cuts too, where it's like they close the door and it's now black, and then they open the door. That's
Mhm.
kind of a cool match cut too. I like match cuts. I like passing cuts where like not passing. I like like when someone passes the frame. I forgot what they're called. That cut's called. I usually base it off of what Studio Binder says because like anything they say about like cuts or like shots, I base it off of Studio Binder. I don't know if
Uh,
that's you too.
well, I
They're
do watch Studio Binder a lot, so or, like,
they're really
not a
cool.
lot, but I do watch them.
They have really cool descriptions and stuff. So
I
I
got I have another YouTube channel I could send you that you'll probably like, but
okay, yeah,
I'll
send
send
it.
that to you later.
But I don't know. There are some things I just don't like. I always evolve. I don't like when people use bad font. I saw a lot of bad fonts today for our documentaries.
Didn't that one kid
um
that, like, use, like, Comic Sans or something for the rainbow thing? I remember the
oh,
font there
David,
was just like
yeah.
the font there was interesting. I was like,
Oh yeah, David is so cool.
uh-huh.
Um
Wanna
but
get into that?
no, no,
No,
it's drama.
I'm joking.
But I actually kind of liked his documentary.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty, I'm just not gonna.
I just wanted to be nice and say that, but I didn't hate it. Is all I'm gonna say. It was better
Yeah,
than some of the other ones.
yeah. Some of the quality was on a very wide spectrum for this.
Yes, I was surprised actually because a lot of us are like skilled at this point, or more skilled than we were. You know.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, just editing. I love editing. That's like my main thing. My dad really wants me to just become an editor and not a director because directors don't get as many jobs as editors.
yeah. But the DJ,
Um,
if you get in the DJ, you get paid a shit ton as a direct.
oh, what do you mean DJ?
Like, if you get in the union,
Oh
like,
yeah.
you get that good money.
If I get into the union, there's not really a union for editors.
Not that's not one that I'm super aware of.
Yeah, Editors Guild. But there should be. There's a lot of editors. And I just like editing, you know? You have more control of the finished product and you can completely
Mhm.
change something from one way to another. I changed someone's audio for a video essay or video review of I guess Sonic the Hedgehog. What was it? I think it was forgot what it was. It was Sonic Adventure,
Mhm.
and it was a review of the first game. I didn't end up releasing it because I kept going on and on about it. Where I just kept editing it because I
Uh-huh.
was kind of using it as
Practice?
like my own playground, my own practice. Because this guy was not paying me, and he actually ended up getting upset that I didn't give him a finished product, which is not right of me. But at the same time, he's not paying me, and he's not the nicest guy sometimes. But that does not make it okay that I did that. Probably nowadays I would have just gotten it done. But
Mm,
I liked changing it so many times because I was not okay with it. I'm I'm more or less okay with it now, but I'm like really OCD about it. Like even how I structure the media
mm.
project folder or whatever, or how many seconds certain things are, you
Oh,
know,
I'm definitely like that.
proportions. It's weird. Um I don't know. I just really like editing, and I don't think I can imagine filming something and not and letting someone else do it. What about you? Ethan, because I think that's all I want to say.
Yeah, as terms of editing, like you, I was a Premiere boy. But then I switched to DaVinci just
Oh my
because.
god, no. Get out of the promised land, Ethan. Get out of the
Well,
promised
if you
land.
want, if you want to edit, you're gonna have to switch to eventually. Either have to use that,
Why?
you're gonna have to use that or Avid. That's what all like everyone else uses. So it's inevitable. You have to make the switch at some point. And Premiere and DaVinci, I'll say this, they're not that different. I thought that would be more different, but it's pretty easy switching. Like I didn't really notice a big difference. There's like certain things that are a little different that are kind of like eh, but like for the most part, it's kind of like oh, it's not big of a difference.
Hmm.
But then yeah, I guess in terms of editing, what I love doing, I guess getting like oh my god, let me take a second to think about this. I guess
What?
editing,
I'm kidding.
funny.
That's a bad joke.
I guess as an editor, what I like doing is having not well, not what I like doing is what I see, what I found that I have, what I think every editor needs to have, every just person has in general. It's just like kind of like an internal sense of rhythm. It's like you see a bunch of clips and you're like, okay, I know. It's like I know how this has to be, or it's like it's not necessarily like you know how it has to be, but it's like but you know when it's wrong. I think that's maybe the better way of saying it because
Mhm.
like I do what you do a lot. Like I try not to do this so much. I think when I do this a lot, I know sometimes like okay, I have to take a break. Like I get super OCD. I stretch
Yeah.
that timeline out to the max, and I change it by 0.01 seconds, and then just so it matches like that perfect timing. I'm just like I obsess over that stuff, and that's for me too. That's why I take like a long time to edit. Where it's kind of
Mm.
like that. It's because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
obsess
me
over things.
too. Dude, we gotta like okay, no homo. We gotta edit together. All right. Maybe
Oh my god, no! I'm too
go
opinionated. Like,
go to a Panera or Starbucks, work on our skills together.
yeah, I need to work on. I need to get started on like color grading. I need to try to
I
get
mean,
better
I
at that.
do need someone to help me with my highlights that I'll be releasing in July.
Your
I don't know how
highlights.
much yeah, for the podcast. I'm not
It's
going to
okay.
pay. I'm going to edit the my own, but I do want some like help or whatever in the sense that I want like
You want a second opinion? Is what you're
second
saying?
opinions, yeah. And like just ways to do it cuz I want to make it easy on myself, but yeah, it's
Uh huh.
very important to me to edit things by myself and everything because I don't trust too many people
Yeah.
editing stuff unless they know exactly what I want,
I will
you know?
say for this latest project, it's been kind of weird because every other project I've worked on, I've edited.
Mhm.
So this is the first one I'm not editing. So it's kind of feels weird not editing, but it's like it's kind of weird, but it's also relaxing because now it's like I have so much free time. Like because usually around now I'd be like stressing about editing and spending hours on it, but like around now I'm like damn, I'm like
Oh, that's
doing
helping a
this.
lot. You know how many projects I gotta edit?
Well, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
kind of that's on me for bringing that up, but
No, it's fine. It's
but
all good, Ethan.
yeah, but I think my process there is kind of similar to screenwriting, where it's like sometimes what I'm trying to do now is kind of when we shoot, I get all the takes and I kind of put them in sequence just so it's easier for me because I when I
Oh,
used to not
assembly cut?
yeah when I used to not do that, it's like, fuck, I won't curse too much. It was a pain in the ass. Like
I don't really do assembly cuts. And the only reason is like my well, I have to put it in order. That's the main thing. I guess it will help you a lot though.
I would say it was different for Deadlock. That was the first time I really did it because for Deadlock we had a bunch of takes, we had different angles of the same things. And we had a
Yeah.
bunch of different performances that were slightly different. So I would like just put them in a timeline because I we had like so much footage. We had like 400 gigabytes of footage. So I had to put it out there just to get a sense of it.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, I did that. And then I guess yeah, like editing, it's like screenwriting. It's like sometimes I'm like stagnant and there's times where I go in like bursts of inspiration where I can edit for like 6 hours straight and not even notice. And then I realize when I try to get up and my feet are like falling asleep and I have like blood clots in my feet or some shit.
Yeah. I don't know. When it comes to editing, I like just like editing. uh it's just
Mm.
hard for me to,
Yeah, it's hard to let
imagine
go.
it. Yeah, imagine not editing, just imagine
It's because it's like
whatever.
even if you're not the director, you're like, but I can edit, so I can you can kind
Love
of
that.
take control where you can. But
Yeah.
then it's been weird grasping that because
You want the right person to be editing,
yeah,
is all I'm gonna say.
because for Deadlock it was like I wrote the final cut, I helped direct, and I edited. So I did everything. I did like a lot of it, and I was heavily involved in pre-production. So it's kind of like editing was not that hard because it's kind of like we spent so much time prevising it. I kind of already have a sense of how I want things to go. Like I spent so much time thinking about it before we even shot the footage that I kind of already know what I want in terms of editing. You know what I mean?
I got you.
But then again, there's when in terms of like dialogue and scenes, there's always like little surprises. Like the actors can like have like that's what I like in the same vein I do in the timings, like where I shave off like milliseconds. I also try to be very aware of all the little like details and a lot of all the little like ticks actors like give you because like you can use those to like cut on certain things and like and do that.
Hmm.
And it kind of like makes editing more fun because like editing you're like obviously editing sometimes is kind of monotonous. Like you're looking at footage and you're looking at the timings of certain clips over and over and over again. But
Hmm.
then you like those are the moments like help keep it like alive, that keep you not wanting to fall asleep, honestly.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to mention about editing?
I will say why I did switch from Premiere. I will say I switched from Premiere because I wanted to try DaVinci, and second, because actually the disaster of editing those is Action 52, where my Premiere crashed 7 times and I lost progress like so much, and I wanted to cry. And after
You
that, I
didn't
was
try the autosave thing?
dude, I had 15 autosaves. It was a whole thing. You like I did it after, but then it was like the first couple times it happened because it was like sporadic. It wouldn't be like consistent. Like it would be like, oh, it'll be good for 3 hours, then boop. Like I
Mhm.
would kind of forget about it. That's on me a little bit.
Yeah,
But
well,
like the
you know now.
first time I lost like I was like halfway through and I lost 30% of that half. So I wanted to. Oh my god, I was so mad.
Look, I'll try DaVinci, but it's definitely gonna be a transition, would you say? Would you say it was like, was it hard? It's not like going from Coke to Pepsi, right?
No, I got acclimated in like a day. Honestly, it was not that
Okay.
hard at all.
You know what, Ethan? I'll try it out, okay? Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have anything else to say?
Uh, I don't know. Well,
Alright.
also Adobe like makes you pay for all that stuff, which is not good. But that's why
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'll say this on this stream. That's why I pirated Premiere.
I won't
Like
tell anyone.
Adobe's like a. I hate Adobe. They make you pay for everything.
Yeah. Alright. Let's go on to the future.
Yes. I
The
guess. Do you want to go
future.
first, or should I
Yeah, I
go
don't
first?
know. I'll
I don't
go
care.
first. I just wanna, like I
Go
said, I
ahead.
wanna get more into acting right now. Just do more of that. I do wanna get back into directing, but it's gonna be really hard after this because I don't know. It's just been a lot. So I do want to get more into just acting and maybe just get more of a vibe what the actors are thinking. I feel like I already know, but at the
Mhm,
same time, it would be cool to just be an actor, just have some fun. Because to be honest, I do have more fun when I'm acting,
mhm.
but I love directing. You know,
Yeah.
because of the finished product.
Mhm,
And when it comes to directing, I don't know. I just want to. I know, like, a lot of people want me to go to these schools, and I will, but I have to think about which ones to go to. And but to be honest, I do want to get into filmmaking just based off of the work I make, not the people I work with, not any of that. So like that's why I'm always like kind of, skewy about being an intern unless I was an intern for like editing. But I feel like if I was an intern for like editing, which that one would probably be the first one I would do.
mhm,
I wouldn't want to edit. I wouldn't want to do like I would probably want to do an assistant directing one too. Intern.
mhm,
That would be fun too. But I wouldn't want to do like just different I don't know. I think I would rather intern than go to maybe a bigger college or something like that. But I don't want to
yeah.
do too many. I'd rather my progress be based off of the work I've made on my own. But I do like the idea of working on other little things. So there's like half an idea there. That's what I like too.
Mm,
I like someone that has half an idea and I give them the other half.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've liked that for a long time because when I did my Lego stop motion, I didn't talk about this with writing. that's when I liked writing a lot too. I mean, my dad helped me write a lot of those, but at the same time, I already knew what I wanted, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I just I like being half an idea, you know,
Yeah,
to someone else's half idea because it's not finished. It's not made.
yeah,
So I don't know. I just feel like overcomplicating things is just I feel like it would complicate things if I went to like a university or something like that. And people just cared about my grades, but at the same time they don't really care about your grades. It's more about making connections
yeah.
at the end of the day. At the
Mhm.
same time, I don't know. I just don't want to worry too much about picking the wrong thing. Picking College of the Canyons was basically either you pick that or you don't go to any community college, you
Yeah,
know?
it is a bit more
So
simple.
it was very simple for me. It's hard now to try to think about a school I could go to. I will have to say. Everyone talks about CSUN, and that does sound simple, but at the same time, it's like, is that the best way to go? I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to get some ideas from other people and maybe do other things. Because to be honest, I did want to do college, but I didn't want to do like too much. And I feel like if I go in there, I'll know it's too much.
Uh-huh.
Days are feeling shorter now. You know,
Mm.
when I was younger, days felt really long. Now they feel really, really short, unless I'm doing something really, really boring.
Yeah.
So, what about you, my
I
guy?
I guess what I'll say immediately in terms of the you wanna get recognized off your work
Hmm.
instead of the what people do, instead of, like, what people you know, which I think, yeah, I think everyone wants that, but I think the reality, and it's kind of sad reality, is that or I guess it just depends on how you take it, but filmmaking is all about connections. Like whether we wanna admit it or not. Like, because I think in film school right now, I think we all have this kind of this is like the most pure it's gonna get. Like we're just doing it as students. Like we're just doing it to do it. Like, we're doing it for class. Like we can make mistakes and we can just do it and have fun and not worry about like the minutia of the industry. But then if we want to get into it more, that's like connections do matter. Like I wouldn't say they're go 200,000 like for I guess for film school. I wouldn't say they're 200,000 in school debt worth it. But going to university like for CSUN, kind of reason I'm going is because like I have the COC network there. Like there's people from COC going, and like having those things there as I go, and then I can like broaden my net even further. Like it gives you a good like network and like a networking in film is important. Like we're gonna all have to get you very used to networking with people. And yeah, but I guess do you have anything you want to say to that before I go into like I guess my own future? So I just wanted
No,
to mention that.
not really. You can go into it.
Well, I guess yeah. I think a thing I'm doing for CSUN, it's like you've been mentioning earlier, like you mentioned earlier today. It's like we don't know how many more filmmaking classes are at COC. Like what
Yeah.
is left after that? And it's kind of like going to school. CSUN is cheap. I'll be honest. That's part of the reason I chose it too. Like my financial aid will cover it. Like I won't have any debt, and I that's like a weird thing I'm like super obsessed with right now. Like I don't want to go into debt at all.
Dude,
Like
no
if I'm
one wants to get into debt. I get you.
yeah, but it's like especially for film, like you don't like there's no point of going into like a massive amount of debt for like a degree where everyone, no matter where you start off, like we're all gonna be working the same PA. Like we're gonna get put in the dirt. We're gonna be all in the same like $15 an hour job, or even like maybe even unpaid. That's like worst case scenario.
Yeah. No, I got you.
So there's that, and I think maybe it's a little bit. I feel I can stay home, I can commute. And it's
Yeah.
a little bit of that, like in comparison, because I got into Long Beach, like I got
That's
into the
awesome.
production program, but I was kind of set on going there, but then it was like one day. This was like 2 days before the deadline. I kind of had this like not like panic attack, but it was kind of like this. Whoa! It's like it's like I haven't really thought about this yet. It's because I think I just chose them because like CSUN didn't accept me into the track yet, like the track, like
Mhm.
the narrative track. So I was kind of like, whoa! I was like, maybe I should just go where I got in. Like that was my initial mindset, but the more I thought about it, I was like, holy shit! I was like, do I really want to do that? And Long Beach is obviously more expensive because I have to pay for housing and like food plans, and I would definitely go into debt if I did that. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I should just do CSUN. Like it's cheaper, it's closer. I have an established network already, or like network, but established that people I know and like a lot of people from COC are going to CSUN for film. And it's just, I think it gives me a better chance to, because like obviously, if I start working, I'll eventually have to move and like to be uncomfortable. But right now, I feel like maybe I don't want to do like the jump in head first. I want to give myself an easing in point. Like I want to get ease into it. So I think going to see sun is like it just feels more comfortable. Maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe it's not. But I think for me right now, it feels like the better choice. Like just going to see sun, trying a thing again. Also, because I'm taking like 2 classes at CSUN, so I'm probably gonna have a lot of free time, and I can like get a if I go I can if I can't speak if I go to Long Beach, because I've been thinking about getting a job, but then obviously I'm trying to do that after I come back from Korea.
Yeah.
But if it's like if I get a job, if I got a job in the summer, it'll be like I work for a month, then I go to Long Beach. But then if I go to CSUN, I can get a job, stay there for a little bit. I can actually stay there. I don't know. I can make money while I do that, and then I can eventually think about maybe moving out or do whatever something like that. But I feel like CSUN gives me flexibility because I can also kind of treat this as a gap year. Like if I really want to try to like go hardcore in the applications again, I can do that because I'm not taking a lot of classes, so I can spend more time on that. So I think the season option, as I'm doing right now, gives me more flexibility to like adjust and think about what I really want.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um no, I think it's cool that you picked it because it does give you flexibility. I think it's better to have more flexibility than to just let university take control of your life. That's why I
yeah.
think universities are just it's very hard to try to get your mindset into it. You have anything else to say?
Uh,
All
no.
right. I think we can end it there. So Ethan, do you have anything you would like to shout out?
Well, not really. Honestly, I'm not really
No Instagram, no
so.
YouTube, no OnlyFans.
No, I don't really care about social media that much, honestly.
Okay, I'm waiting for the
Yeah.
latter though. Okay, no, I'll stop. I'll stop.
Wait, wait for the wait
Nothing.
for the what?
Because I said YouTube, Instagram, and then OnlyFans, and then I said I'm waiting for the latter.
Oh,
Um,
funny.
that's a bad joke. All right, let me know how you feel about this person. Ethan, in the comments below. Let me know if you'd like to hear from him again. I sure do. Thanks for
Alright.
listening to this week's podcast. It's a little bit longer than usual. Hopefully you like that. And you'll see me next week talking to somebody else about something else. All right. Yeah, have a good day, guys, or have a good night, have a good evening, have a good afternoon. All right. Yeah, see you guys all later.